Hi, good morning, brothers and sisters. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm really glad about the invitation to learn from you in these 2 days that I'm here. And you know that we mentioned before that since the last Congress, we have 6 vice presidents that represent each of the continents of the 140 countries that we represent workers. And Carol is the only woman among the 6 vice presidents. And it's really a privilege to serve side by side with a woman of steel. So, I would like to start just saying that the importance that steel workers have in my life, because 12 years ago, and the executive board is sick about this history because I tell it all the time, but we met Leo and the steelworkers leadership at that time when Gerdau, the Brazilian steel company, bought lots of steel mills in North America and started to play the nastier anti-union policies around all the steel mills that had bought. And what we did, after the company started a lockout in Texas, in one of the steel mills, we brought the leadership of steelworkers around Brazil in all the plants, the 9 plants that we had in Brazil, and we made very clear to the management of Gerdau at that time that if they don't solve the problem with the steelworkers locked out in Texas, they would have a terrible problem with the workers in Brazil, and that was very important to make the company to a deal. And so yesterday, I was listening to all the reports from the various locals, and I was thinking that sometimes we may think that we're unbeatable. We're very strong, and the steelworkers is one of the strongest unions in the world. And so I thought that my union as well, CNM-CUT, is about the same size. It's about 800,000 workers, metal workers in Brazil. Sometimes we think that our contracts are the best ones. Sometimes we think they are strong enough because we have union density, we have the power, our workers are conscious and mobilized whenever it's necessary. And so why sometimes the company challenges everything that you've been achieved along this 75 years of great history? Why do the companies challenge the healthcare, your contracts, the pensions, all the benefits? Because we don't have any control if the company starts a production site in a different country in precarious conditions and starts to pit one production unit against the other. And so how do we face this if it's not by international solidarity? That's the way that we have to move forward. And you know, precarization sometimes has no limits. You know, even here in South US, we see the violations of trade union rights, the consecrated trade union rights, even in South US, and I'm leaving in a couple of hours to go to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where Volkswagen, there is a production union with 4,000 workers, non-organized, and the company keeps pushing the USW out to the right of organize, even when they got already a winning in a vote to organize the skilled trade workers. So we'll bring together workers and unions at Volkswagen all over to bring to Chattanooga to send the solidarity message to the workers there that it's the only place in the world where workers don't have the right to organize is the South US. And that's the same for Nissan, for Mercedes, for BMW, for Honda. And the trade union rights are violated in so many countries. I invite you to talk to our Colombian brothers that are here to tell you about something. We're bringing to the committee of application of standards of the ILO, the International Labour Organization, violations in up to 40 countries 40 countries. Of course, the ILO has limited power to address these violations, so we have to count on ourselves. So we have to have each other's backs. And some of these violations are in countries, because one of the things that the industry all fights around the world is for a sustainable industrial policy. And the industrial policy is a way of the countries to create jobs in a sustainable manner, to development of the country, to bring jobs back. And some countries, they think that the only industrial policy that they can have is through keeping the standards, the labor standards, as low as possible. That's the industrial policy for a lot of countries. That's the way that some countries understand that's the way that they can be competitive in the international scenario. So along with the fight for a fair trade, we have to fight for sustainable industrial policies for all the countries. And some of the countries, like I'll give you some example. In Bangladesh, in a country that I will invite some of you to check the labels of your clothes. Probably they come from Bangladesh or China. There are about 5 million textile and garment workers in Bangladesh, people that work up to 60 hours a week to win as much as $60 a month. And in December, those workers started a strike, was a wildcat strike, in the district of Ashulia around Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh, and they were severely repressed. They were trying to raise their minimum wage, about $60 a month. And they were severely repressed. 1,600 workers fired, 35 union leaders in the jail, charges to 600 workers, and the closing of all the union offices, just because they were trying to raise the minimum wage to a living wage level in Bangladesh. And you know what we did? We campaigned. We put all our affiliates in the whole world to put pressure on the embassies of Bangladesh. We send letters, we make photos with banners, and most impressive, we utilized the global framework agreements that we have with some brands, like H&M, like Inditex, the Zara, they own the brand Zara, and Chibo, and we put the pressure on the government and on the employers in Bangladesh that if they don't come back to this wild repression to the unions, we would escalate, and we made the brands boycott the fair of garment that would be in Bangladesh at that time. And then what happened is that we won this campaign by releasing all the union leaders, by getting the reinstatement of the workers, and opening the unions again. And I want to thank the steelworkers for the strong support of this campaign. And that's the way we can solve the things, because we have this all the time. Sometimes we may feel that we are isolated, even with all the strength that we have. Sometimes we feel that we are isolated. And I was just remembering, because in the morning I just passed by the Siemens network meeting, and there was a strike in the beginning of the year where the workers were locked out in British Columbia at a LafargeHolcim unit. And it's a company, we're talking about the giant of cement in the world, the company that uses contract workers, outside contracted workers. Up to 60 to 70% of the workforce worldwide of this company is outside contracted, is a champion of killing workers at the job. In 2016, 86 workers were killed in the job at LafargeHolcim alone. And this company locked out workers in British Columbia. And we said to them, that we were in a process because the company, we've been campaigning against Lafarge-Holcim for some time now. And we said that very clear that if they want to get a commitment in a global framework agreement that we are started negotiating, we won't give any step, and instead we would escalate the campaign against the company if they don't sit at the table again with local of steel workers in British Columbia, and that was fundamental for the workers that were freezing in the picket lines, thought they were isolated, and they got the solidarity, and the company came back to the bargaining table. So that's the message that I will bring to you. It's really the importance of the steel workers. You're an inspiration for the workers worldwide, and I'm glad to be here to learn from your experience, to share that with all the 50 million workers that we represent worldwide. And I would like to wish you that you keep up the good fight, and you're an inspiration to all the workers. Solidarity forever. Thank you very much.